Where's Rochelle? No, Marsha Marshall. Marsha Marshall.
Oh, you're right.
Just say welcome. Something like that. Yeah.
Shana Tova, and welcome to our first Rosh Hashanah service. Can't hear? Are we good? Okay. All right. Welcome to our first Rosh Hashanah service. We will be having live streaming through all of our regular services and look forward to hearing from everybody. In the temple, we are sparse, but enough for a minyan so that we can actually do what we did not do last year, which was the whole service, complete with Torah services. So we hope you enjoy the services. Those of you that are coming in to the temple for one of the services, please remember everyone is masked and spread out. So we look forward to having you come join us if you've made a reservation, and if not, I hope you enjoy the services on live stream. At this point, I'm going to turn the mic over to Rabbi Carla.
Nobody put candles out because there's nobody here from the ritual committee. Well, I don't see her, do you? We'll just do that. Yeah. I know, but yeah. I've got water. Yeah, I'm good. Indeed, we are glad to see those of you who are with us in the room this evening, and to all of you who are celebrating the beginning of Rosh Hashanah with us from your homes. We are grateful to have you with us as well. Cantor Groper, we're going to begin. What do you think?
I think that we should sing
How about
Hashivenu.
How about Hashivenu?
Sounds like a good
Does
idea.
that sound good to you? Yeah. That's on page 6 in your Machzor.
Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, V'nashuva, Kadesh, Kadesh, Yameinu Kikadem. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
We're going to continue now with the lighting of the Yom Tov candles. Are you going to use this? No. Oh, okay. You're going to use this?
Yes.
Oh, okay, now I'll leave it with you. The reading we're doing is on page 10. It's the reading at the bottom of the page, and it's also on the screen.
All the stars are hidden, and the moon is dark tonight. In the wide expanse of heaven, north to south, not a ray of light. Light a bright candle in my heart's shadowed tent, and through the wide expanse of heaven, the light will shine. Where there is sadness, let us offer love. Where there is fear, let us reach for hope. On this eve of New Year, may we bring light to one another. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner, shel yom tov.
Amen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, sheyom tov. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen.
And we're going to continue on page 15. At the top of that page, Tik'u.
תקעו בקודש שופר בכסל יום חגנו, תיקו בחודש שופר, בכסל יום חגנו, כי חוק לישראל הוא משפט לאלוהי יעקב, תיקו בחודש שופר, בכסל יום חגנו.
We're going to continue on page 17 with Hineni. Please rise. Cantor Groper, I'm going to be standing back here for COVID-related reasons. So I will be reading from
It
you.
was just because you did not like me.
No, no, it was never that. Here I am, so poor in deeds. I tremble in fear, overwhelmed and apprehensive before you to whom Israel sings praise. Although unworthy, I rise to pray and seek favor for your people Israel, for they have entrusted me with this task.
Rosh, ונפחד מפחד, יושב תהילות ישראל. לעמוד ולכונן לפניך על עמך ישראל אשר שלחני. ואף על פי שאיני כדאי והגון לכך, על כן אבקשך, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, ואלוהי רחל, ואלוהי לאה. אדוני, אדוני, רחום וחנון, אלוהים שדי, עיין ונורא, אינו מצליח דרכי, אשר אנוכי הולך לעמוד ולבקש רחמים עלי ועל שולחי, ונור על Hashem v'chatotai, ve'al techevem ba'avonotai, ki choteh ופושעתני, ויקלמו בפשעי, ויעלבושה בהם. וקבל תפילתי כתפילת זקן ורגיל, ופרקו נאה, וקולו נאים, ומערב מדעת עם הבריות.
Let love be our banner. Let it banish our wrongs. May Israel's strife and misfortunes be turned into joy, renewed life, and peace. Love, peace, and truth, may they prevail among us, and may there be no impediment to my prayer. Adonai, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God of Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, great, mighty, awe-inspiring God Most High, who said to Moses, I will be what I will be, may it be your will that my prayer reach your presence for the sake of the righteous and blameless, the honest and pure of heart, for the sake of your glory. You hear your people's prayer with compassion. Blessed are you, the one who hears prayer.
כי אתה שומע תפילת עמך ישראל ברחמים. ברוך אתה שומע
Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, yehi ratzon shenizke levirchotecha b'shnat 5,782. Elohei olam, barech otanu ve'et kol Beit Yisrael b'chidush yameinu, b'simcha u'v'shalom, b'nechema u've'ometz lev, b'chilutz atzamot u'v'ruach etana. Yehi pri sfatenu mikubal v'ratzui milfanecha, b'fros Hashanah hachadasha la'ad modim anachnu lach al matnat hachayim. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessing in the year 5,782. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life. Please remain standing. We continue with the Baruch Hu on page 20.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam
It's a lot easier when we're standing together. Page 23. Bless Adonai who spins day into dusk. With wisdom watch the dawn gates open. With understanding let time and seasons come and go. With awe perceive the stars in lawful orbit. Morning dawns, evening darkens, darkness and light yielding one to the other, yet each distinguished and unique. Marvel at life. Strive to know its ways. Seek wisdom and truth, the gateways to life's mysteries. Wondrous indeed is the evening twilight. Page 24, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shokbeinu u'b'kumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Tortecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
We're going to continue now on page 26 with the Shema, and I remind you as you are standing that we are doing the High Holy Day melodies for the Shema. Please rise for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We're going to continue now on page 33 with a responsive reading. I will start. To break the bonds of anger, to be generous of heart,
To break the bonds of shame, to live with self-respect.
to break the bonds of envy, to serve one another in joy,
To break the bonds of boredom, to be attentive to all God's gifts.
to break the bonds of fear, to live with courage and strength,
To untie the knots of betrayal, to love with fullness of being.
to break the bonds of loneliness, to receive a hand of hope,
To break the bonds of self-centeredness, to extend a hand of help.
Released from the darkness, our people found their freedom at the sea.
Pray for liberation this year.
And we continue now on page 34, Michamocha.
Mi kamocha boilim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar bakodesh, norat tehilot osefele. Malchutecha rauvanecha, bokeh yam livnei Moshe uMiriam. Zeli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed v'nehemar kifada Adonai et Yaakov uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Goal Yisrael.
Amen. We continue on page 36. We're going to read the English together. Join me, please. Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives, be our shield, make us stronger than the enemies we face, illness and war, famine and sorrow, and stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety as on wings, for you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us that we may come home in peace, now and to the end of time.
Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Baruch atah Adonai Hapore sukat shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
We're going to continue on page 40 now with Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Bialma divrachir ute, biamlich malchute. Bechayechon, uveyomechon. Uvechayechon beit Yisrael. Vagala uvizman kariv yimru. Amen. יהי שמי רבם מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל. שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה ולעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ויאמרו Amen.
We will continue momentarily with the Amidah. The text will be on the screen, and it starts on page 42 in the Machzor. And these will be, of course, the High Holy Day melodies. Please rise for the Amidah.
Sifatai tiftach, ufia giteilatecha, Adonai. Sifatai tiftach, ufia giteilatecha, Adonai. Open up my mouth, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufia giteilatecha. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufia giteilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chaste Avot V'Imachot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, L'Ma'an Shemo V'Yahava. Zochreinu l'chaim, Melech Hofetz b'chaim, V'chodveinu b'sefer ha'chaim, L'mancha Elohim Hayim, Melech Ozer, U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלי ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך אב הרחמים, זוכה יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה סלה סלה.
And so in your holiness, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence. Let us be witnesses of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for connection with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. All-inspiring is your creation, all-encompassing your transcendent name. And so in your holiness, give your people the gift of honor. Bless with praise those who praise you. Bless with hope those who seek you. Give your believers a basis for faith, true happiness from the land of Israel, true joy in Jerusalem. May the sparks of David, your servant, soon grow bright enough for us to see a beam of light in the darkness, a promise of perfection. And so in your holiness, give the righteous the gift of a vision bright with joy, a world where evil has no voice, and the rule of malevolence fades like wisps of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate the stunning sight of arrogance gone from the earth. Please be seated. Actually, I think I jumped the gun there. Could be. We're on page 52, which we were going to do standing over there, but it's okay if we just continue. Is that okay? Tomorrow night we'll do it better. And you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation upon Mount Zion, home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you, as the psalmist believed. Adonai will reign eternally, your God Zion, for all generations. Hallelujah.
Kadosh ata v'nora shemecha v'yein eloah mibal'adecha kakatuv v'yigba Adonai tziva'ot b'mishpat v'ha'el ha'kadosh nigdash b'tzedakah. Baruch atah Adonai HaMelech HaKadosh.
Page Page 53, please join me. You chose us with love to be messengers of your mitzvot, and through us you made known your aspirations. Among all the many peoples, you gave us a pathway to holiness. Among all the great nations, you uplifted us and made us yourself our sovereign. And so we seek you and serve you and celebrate our nearness to your presence. Your great and sacred name has become our calling. And we continue on, that's not the right page, on page 54. In your love, eternal our God, you have given us this day of remembrance, a day for the shofar's joyful sound, a day of sacred assembly, a day to be mindful of our people's going out from Egypt. Our God and God of the generations before us, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness, together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and for peace on this day of remembrance. Eternal our God, remember us. Amen. Be mindful of us and redeem us. Amen. For a life of goodness and blessing. Amen. Favor us with words of deliverance and mercy. Show us the depth of your care. God, we await your redemption, for you reign with grace and compassion. Page 57. This is the season of God. This is the season of our humanity. And this is the day when one word stands at the very center of Jewish prayer, Meloch. 3 Hebrew letters, Mem, Lamed, Chaf. Reign over space and time, Meloch. Reign over the infinite expanse. Show us your reality. Help us see our finite place in the cosmos that is our home. What is God's sovereignty? What is God's rule? It is the rule of unity by which we sense coherence in the universe. It is the power of relationship, relating every image of God to every other image of God and to every facet of nature. Sunshine and ocean waves, heartbeats, honeybees, the stuff that stars are made of. It is the ultimate power that governs our lives with wisdom, compassion, truth, and kindness. In this season of God, may we breathe new life into the ancient name Melech HaOlam, and may the ruler of the universe breathe new life into each of us. Page 58. Please read with me. God who is ours and God of our fathers and mothers, lead us to holiness through your mitzvot, and may each of us find a portion of Torah that is ours. You bestow such goodness, teach us to be satisfied and to know the joy of your salvation. Help us to serve you truly with purity of heart, for you are a faithful God whose truth stands forever.
Baruch atah Adonai, melech al kol haaretz, mekadesh Yisrael, melech al kol haaretz, mekadesh Yisrael, v'yom hazikaron.
Page 59, please read with me. Help me to serve you truly with purity of heart. When I hear hateful or degrading speech, let me focus on good words and worthy thoughts. When my worst instincts cause me torment, teach me to care for myself and for others. In rough waters and misfortune, let me harbor patience and strength. Make my soul a sanctuary that your light may dwell within me. Align all my acts in pursuit of goodness, So may I be a vessel of holiness, serving you with purity and truth. We continue on page 60.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu Be'amecha Yisrael U'tefilatam Be'ahava Tekabel Utehil Ratzon Tamid Avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lechol Karov B'nei El Avadecha V'konenu Shefach Ruchacha Aleinu V'techezena einenu B'shuvecha Letzion Berachamim Baruch atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Letzion Letzion
Page 63. In the name of the daybreak and the eyelids of morning and the wayfaring moon and the night when it departs, I swear I will not dishonor my soul with hatred, but offer myself humbly as a guardian of nature, as a healer of misery, as a messenger of wonder, as an architect of peace. In the name of the sun and its mirrors, and the day that embraces it, and the cloud veils drawn over it, and the uttermost night, and the male and the female, and the plants bursting with seed, and the crowning seasons of the firefly and the apple, I will honor all life, wherever and in whatever form it may dwell, on earth my home, and in the mansions of the stars. Page 64, let's read together. And for all these gifts, God of majesty, may your name come to be blessed and praised. Our gratitude a daily offering until the end of time. Inscribe your covenant partners for a life of goodness. May all life resound with gratitude and faith in praise of your name. God, you free us and strengthen us. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'er lehodot. And we continue now on page 66 with Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amacha, Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amacha, Tasim Le'olam, Ki atahu melech adon, Lechol ha-shalom, V'tov b'einecha, Levarech et amcha Yisrael, B'chol et ובכל שעה בשלומך. בספר חיים ברכה ושלום, ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה, ברכה ושלום. ניזכר וניכתב לפניך, אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל, לחיים טובים ולשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני, עושה השלום.
Please use this opportunity to pray privately. The traditional text is on page 68, and there's other prayers on page 69 if you're so inclined.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום. עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
One year ago, on the Jewish calendar, of course, Cantor Groper and I faced an all but empty sanctuary and conducted what I think of as the least satisfying High Holy Day services I have ever experienced. The services went smoothly enough and even the new technology did what we hoped it would do. But it was strange and very lonely in here. We thought and prayed that by the same season this year, life would return to normal and that we'd all be here together again. We couldn't imagine that the protocols for dealing with the coronavirus would shift and change repeatedly over the 18 months that we have been living with this thing. We were watching the number of cases, of hospitalizations, and of deaths, trying to discern patterns and causes for optimism. One thing seems to be true. We are not the same people we were a year ago. We have endured months of isolation, of loneliness, of fear. We've discovered strengths and weaknesses we might never have otherwise known. We have somehow gotten through birthdays, anniversaries, national holidays, religious observances, sickness, and even death, robbed by the virus of the customs and practices that sustain us. We went without haircuts, manicures, plays, concerts, sports events, movies, grocery shopping, travel, mahjong, canasta, poker, bingo, and all the clubs that bring us pleasure. We followed the reports on the spread of COVID-19, and because we are a congregation of senior citizens, when we were told to stay at home, we stayed home. When we were told to wear masks everywhere, we wore them. When we were told to maintain social distancing, we did so. Because we were raised in a different era, we behaved in this situation the way we generally behave. We were and are still compliant. That's because the things we had to give up, however temporarily, were not just about doing our part to maintain a functioning society. They were seen and are still seen as a matter of life and death. Over the many months of isolation, I talked with congregants by phone, and I heard the toll this was taking, especially amongst our oldest members and those who were already isolated before COVID came to town. On the practical level, almost everybody figured out some way to comply with the rules in place and still get groceries and other necessities. Some people took advantage of the quiet time to read books they've long avoided. Others watched endless amounts on Netflix and other streaming sources. But some languished, bored by anything on a screen, unable to concentrate enough to read. Crossword puzzles and Sudoku games held no appeal. Many who had depended on our local fitness facilities were stymied when these were closed, and they did not find satisfaction doing yoga or calisthenics online or with cheery instructors on television. Time weighed heavily on our hands. Whereas we used to have Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, now we had yesterday, today, tomorrow, repeat. Then came the mad scramble to get a vaccination once these became available. The frustration generated by the website failures, the conflicting information about when and where the vaccines would be administered, and in some cases, the hours-long lineups at the sites, wore down people already frazzled by this cumulative experience. But the joy and relief of knowing that we, that senior citizen population again, we were one of the highest priorities for the early vaccinations, and that quelled all of that angst. And it seemed that the end would soon be in sight. Perhaps that's why some people, despite government guidelines, began to congregate while simultaneously discarding their masks. And along came the super spreader events, college kids at Florida beaches, bikers in South Dakota, services at megachurches. And infection rates spiked again. What happened to us as all these things played out? We became anxious when we had to go out grocery shopping. We washed our hands obsessively. We sprayed down delivery boxes and the mail until the CDC made it clear that COVID-19 spreads by breathing, not contact, and that the virus doesn't live long on paper. Yet we remained anxious. Some people figured out how to have contact with their family via Zoom and even held a family Seder that way, not just 1 year, but twice. Some attended family weddings, b'nai mitzvah, baby namings, and alas, even funerals that way. And while Zoom has been a marvelous tool in so many ways, it has allowed us to cocoon at home with the illusion of personal contact. And now we know, some may have known all along, that the illusion was a delusion. Science has shown that baby chimps fail to thrive without physical contact from a nurturing being. And adults who are deprived of in-person contact with others frequently become depressed, withdrawn, anxious, and fearful. I have seen this displayed by various congregants over our COVID year and a half now, though many would not have been able to identify these feelings and behaviors in themselves. As the year wore on, I began to notice what I called pandemic fatigue setting in. Some people quit going for their walks. Some stopped attending events via Zoom. Some described eating more ice cream, more chocolate, more cookies. Some drank more wine, and many reported sleep problems. Some people mentioned that they were no longer washing their hands frequently, and others said that they just couldn't deal with masks anymore. Some neglected their personal hygiene, which in turn led to doing laundry infrequently. Why bother with any of that if you weren't going to have any in-person contacts with others? But the real damage was being done to our psyches. Without actual in-person contact with others, we lose our sense of who we are. Without the validation that comes from others choosing to spend their time with us, we lose our moorings and are set adrift in a misty sea of despair. When so many of us were vaccinated and the evidence showed clearly that the vaccines do protect us from the ravages of COVID, though they don't render us immune to it, when many of the restrictions were lifted at least temporarily, many of us were reluctant to venture far from home. Though some have happily dined indoors at restaurants, many others have not. Some of us have traveled over the summer, especially to catch up with family and friends, but others have not felt safe in doing that. For a while, vaccinated people felt safe going maskless indoors, though as the Delta variant has surged, we are back to wearing masks indoors. And we readily did that. This tells me that we don't think the COVID experience is over. And each time there is a surge in diagnosed cases, whether from the original virus or one of its variants, the fear amongst us is palpable. What are we afraid of at this point? We are afraid that more lockdowns will be required, as they have in Britain, various European countries, and even in Canada. We are afraid of the isolation, the loneliness, the boredom. I think most of us are no longer afraid that we will get sick with COVID and die of it. Instead, we are afraid that we will live with it and grow numbed by the social degradation it brings with it. I'm no Pollyanna, but of course I am inclined to turn to our Jewish heritage under such circumstances to look for guidance in facing life's challenges. And I'm reminded that we Jews as a people have lived for much longer periods of time under much worse conditions. Our ancestors, according to the Torah, endured hundreds of years of enslavement at the hands of the Egyptians. Our people have been expelled time and again from places they called home, and yet we have flourished anew repeatedly. I think of Anne Frank's family locked up in their attic hiding place under much worse constraints than we have experienced. Yes, their tempers frayed and they grew quarrelsome, but by and large they did what they had to do and would have survived if they had not been betrayed. In each such situation, our people have responded by making use of what resources were at hand and by reframing our worldview accordingly. The Israelites escaping Pharaoh became a people bound in relationship with their God. The Jews survived the destruction of the Second Temple. The Jews who survived the destruction of the Second Temple turned their focus from a building to a book and carried it with them everywhere they went. Some of the Jews who were imprisoned by the Nazis observed the occasions of the Jewish calendar in spirit, if not with ritual objects, sacred rites, and traditional foods. They did so despite their circumstances and in spite of their captors' intention to rob them of their humanity. And we? How will we survive COVID? What does our Jewish experience teach us about surviving? We will survive COVID by accepting that it may be with us for a long time yet, and that masks and social distancing may be intermittently a normal part of life. We will survive COVID by remaining vigilant, but at the same time not becoming obsessive. We will get booster shots when they're offered. Some of us have already done that, because we understand that the vaccinations do provide protection from the worst of the virus's damages. Maybe because of what we have already experienced, we will be better prepared if and when another lockdown is imposed. I'm not referring to the practical ways of coping with a lockdown. I am talking about how we will reach out to others for our own and their benefit. If each of us developed a list of 7 people to be in direct communication with and worked through that list at least once every 7 days, we'd probably talk to at least one person every day, maybe several. That will help us get through the isolation and loneliness that so many people reported to me. And since you will be making those calls to check in with and check up on other people who matter to you, it will be easier to make the calls than sit around waiting to receive one. Even though we may be confined again by the virus, it is still possible to go out for a ride without getting out of your car. There are parks and beaches and beautiful views to enjoy, some within 30 minutes of your home. A nice change of view, and a way to remind ourselves that the world is still going on and that we are still a part of it. Like the Jews who survived Egyptian slavery, we will put our heads down and live out each difficult moment with faith in the adage that the arc of the moral universe bends toward justice. Like the Jews who survived the destruction of the Second Temple, we are reconstructing our religious practices to fit current reality. Since March 2020, we here, along with liberal Jews everywhere, have been revising our practices and customs using all kinds of technology that could not have been dreamt of by those who constructed Jewish practices in centuries past. The challenge in the post-COVID world will be to find the right balance between these new approaches and received customs. And like those Jews in concentration camps and death camps who nonetheless sustained themselves and each other by turning to Jewish traditions and teachings, we will use the wisdom of our heritage to guide us through this latest crisis. We are certainly changed by our circumstances, but change itself is not an enemy. It is a challenge, a stimulus for growth and development, a door opening in what seems to be a wall. The door itself makes no promises. It's only a door. We continue on page 75. A prayer for renewal. Let's read this responsively. We haven't forgotten Avinu Malkeinu, and we have no great liking for absolute power. Akiva stood before you in a time of drought, and his words went up like a flame on the altar. He was humble and forgiving, so his prayer was answered. Tonight, we speak again in a time of drought. Dry ground beneath us, no water, only rock.
Not a hunger for bread or thirst for water, hearts that are longing to hear God's voice.
For the sea of faith is all but gone, the tide's gone out on the empty beach. The world mocks our hopes, and life tests our courage.
Why do the wicked live on and prosper? Why are you silent when they prey on the innocent?
And if your dominion is kindness and justice, why is creation in so much pain? Avinu Malkeinu, sustain our souls, send rain to our roots, Help us find a way to pray.
Make us humble and forgiving ourselves and one another.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew these words. Help us speak them with conviction and believe their truth. 100 generations have stood before the ark, and they lifted up their voices like flame on the altar, and they put their trust in kindness and justice, and they gave their strength to make the promise real.
Avinu Malkeinu, we haven't forgotten you. Avinu Malkeinu, bring us back to you.
We're going to read Avinu Malkeinu on page 76 and 77, back and forth, English only. I will start. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, you alone are our sovereign.
Avinu Malkeinu, for your sake, show us mercy.
Avinu Malkeinu, act towards us as befits your name.
Avinu Malkeinu, bring healing and wholeness to the ill among us.
Avinu Malkeinu, allay the harshness of the decree against us.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption and renewal.
Avinu Malkeinu, remember our goodness and call it to mind.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for our sake and save us.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror.
Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew us for us a year of goodness.
Avinu
Malkeinu,
almighty and merciful.
grace, our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Vanenu, Ki ein banu masim, Asay imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, Asay imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, V'hoshienu, Asay imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, Asay imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, V'hoshienu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Vanenu, Ki ein banu masim.
We're going to deviate from the planned script for a moment. That is notice to the tech team as we get ready to lift the cup for the Kiddush, that the cup that is suddenly here. Thank you. It's quite a job, you know, the job description of the president of the congregation and other duties as assigned. Kiddush, I think we're ready to do Kiddush now. You didn't really want to sit down, did you?
I didn't know how much deviating we were doing.
Well, yes, I was treading water there, yes. We are going to do Kiddush, and it is on the screen. It's on page 79, starting on the bottom. Please rise for Kiddush. Are you going to drink this? I didn't think so. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, אשר בחר בנו מכל העם, ורוממנו מכל לשון, וקידשנו במצוותיו. ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה את יום הזיכרון הזה, יום תרועה מקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי הבנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ודברך אמת וקיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל ביום הזיכרון. אמן.
You okay there?
Okay.
Oh, no, don't sit down because it's time to do the Aleinu. We're on page 82. Cantor Groper, if you'll bring the wine glass over here, we'll put it down on a flat surface.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah. Thank you. The Aleinu, page 82. 82, yeah. Oh, yeah.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We read together at the bottom of page 85. It's on the screen as well. The time may be distant and the outcome uncertain, for how could suffering endemic to the human condition ever come to an end? Cessation of desire, relinquishing attachment, diminishing expectations, all these might ease the pain of being alive, or decide instead that you'll continue to dream, hope, remain fiercely attached to bringing a better day, even if the outcome's uncertain and the time is very distant.
והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Page 87. Death will come. Its hand will not be stayed even an instant, nor can we enter into judgment with it. Our question, why, will go unanswered. But this does not mean that we are helpless in the face of death. We can and we do rob death of ultimate victory by living life as long as it is ours to live. To ask of death that it never come is futile, but it is not futility to pray that when death comes for us, it may take us from a world one corner of which is a little better because we were there. When we are dead and people weep for us and grieve, let it be because we touched their lives with beauty and simplicity. Let it not be said that life was good to us, but rather that we were good to life. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 90. Please rise. And I remind you that there is a little insertion in this text for the High Holy Days. Let's hope we all remember. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha berichu le'ela u'le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran ba'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru Amen. Please be seated. It says in the script that there should be some announcements now, so I'll make some announcements. Seem reasonable to you? Yeah, why not? So the first announcement is that tomorrow morning service will begin at 10 a.m., and if you are so inclined, after the service, you can find a body of water where you want to throw crumbs and get rid of your sins for the year. We are going to do the evening service tomorrow via Zoom. That is the only one of our High Holy Day services that will be done via Zoom. Everything else will be done live stream from the sanctuary, but the evening service tomorrow will be done via Zoom. It will be much less formal than this, and we are hoping that we will have a number of people participate back and forth using Zoom and its interactivity as a way to accomplish all of that. So we will have the second evening of Rosh Hashanah tomorrow evening at 7:30, and the second morning of Rosh Hashanah on Wednesday morning starting again at 10 a.m. Next week, we'll have Yom Kippur, but we're not going to give you all that information now. It's much too complicated. Okay. One other thing, we are collecting food for the St. Anne's Church food pantry. And, we voluntarily stop eating on Yom Kippur. We go hungry by choice. There are lots of people who don't have that choice, and they go hungry a lot. So it is a mitzvah to feed the hungry, and in fact the Torah speaks very explicitly about that. And because the liturgy says that tefillah teshuva utefillah utzedakah mavirin et roa hagzera, that repentance, prayer, and charity, or more correctly, doing the right thing, these can avert the harsh decree. It is a good idea for us to be contributing to a worthy cause, and we're providing you with the avenue for that right here. Please be generous and bring bags of food, non-perishable items to the temple sometime between now and Yom Kippur, and we'll get it to the food pantry. And if that doesn't work for you, you can make out a check to St. Anne's Food Pantry and send it to Barbara Nova, who is our social action director, and she'll get that money to them as well. So those are the announcements for tonight, and if there are other announcements, I don't know them. I think that's it. So we're going to turn now to page 95. Did you enjoy sitting down there for a moment?
Oh, yes. I did.
Yes, well, you know better than to get comfortable, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes, exactly. We're at the bottom of page 95, and we're going to return again.
Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, V'nashuva, V'nashuva, Kadesh, Kadesh, Yameinu Kikedem. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
We have a blessing for the new year on page 98. Let's read it responsively. Our God and God of all generations before us, may it be your will in the coming year to grant us a year of bestowed, a year of community and compassion, a year of delight and exaltation, a year of enlightenment,
A year of friendship and forgiveness.
a year of going up in gladness to the land of Israel.
A year of health and healing and humor.
Let's say that one again. A year of health and healing and humor. A year of inner strength and well-being.
A year of joy and Jewish celebration.
A year of knowledge and learning for its own sake.
A year of love between parents and children, friends and spouses, brothers and sisters.
A year of mitzvot and moments of sweetness.
A year of nature protected and enjoyed.
A year of optimism and hope.
A year of peace pursued with perseverance.
A year of quiet and tranquility.
A year of rain in its season.
A year of song and spiritual growth.
A year of Torah study and tikkun olam.
A year of understanding and unity.
A year of vows fulfilled and violence overcome.
A year of wisdom acquired and shared.
A year of coexistence in the families of the earth.
A year of young and old reaching out to one another.
A year of Zion aglow with light for us and all the world.
Our God and God of the generations before us, grant us a year of gratitude to you for the most profound of blessings, your gift of life. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu shetechadesh aleinu shana tova umituka. Our God and God of our ancestors, eternal God of all generations, may your presence in our lives this new year renew our spirits and renew our strength. May it be a good year. May it be a sweet year.
Lishana tova tikatevu, Lishana tova tikatevu, Lishana tova tikatevu, v'techatemu.
Good Yontif to you all. Chag Sameach, Shana Tova. Don't forget, we're back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Thank you for being with us. On the morrow, yes. That's exactly.